Now that Jon has bent the knee to Daenerys and the entire Targaryen camp is heading to Winterfell, most of the characters will pretty much be on the same place at the same time, and there comes the first prediction, which is a reunion between Jon and Arya. We have been waiting to see a reunion between those two since the very first season. We had been hoping for their reunion in season 7, but the two just missed each other. However, this meeting most certainly will take place in the final season. Jon loves and cares for all his siblings, but Jon and Arya have a unique bond. It was Jon who secretly had needle forged for Arya, encouraging her to become who she always wanted to be, not the lady that Westerosi custom demanded. In fact, those two were so close that in George R. R. Martin's original outline, he had them remarked as lovers. Well, it's easy to say that Jon will be proud, but also blown away by how much Arya has grown as a fighter. It's also safe to say that Arya will support Jon's decision of bending the knee to the Dragon Queen. Season 7 included many reunions, of which the most notable would be the Stark reunions, but none of those would match a reunion between Jon and Arya that will most certainly take place in the very beginning of the final season. Upon arriving at Winterfell, beside reuniting with Arya, Jon will have a reunion with his other siblings and friends. Jon and Sam will see each other for the first time since Jon was killed. Sam will likely reveal to Jon his true parentage, while I also expect Howland Reed to finally appear in the current timeline and confirm these Sam statements to Jon with some evidence. Sam also might know that Jon was killed and resurrected since he was sending ravens to him at Winterfell, but it has not been shown and therefore we cannot tell for sure if Sam knows what happened at Castle Black. If this is something Sam will learn once he reunites with his best friend, it's possible that beside revealing to Jon that he's a Targaryen, Sam might also proclaim Jon Azor Ahai. In the season 7 premiere, Show pointed out that a book Gilly picked up and started reading was a book about the Long Night, while the exact part she was reading was about the prophecy of Azor Ahai. He's a legendary figure in the faith of the Lord of Light. Thousands years ago during the Long Night, Azor Ahai forged the sword Lightbringer which he used to defeat the darkness of the Great Other. This came with a price, however, as in order to unleash the sword's true powers, he had to plunge it into the heart of his loving wife. A prophecy that was mentioned multiple times throughout the series foretells that Azor Ahai will be reborn as the prince that was promised. I already made a video regarding which character might be this prophesied savior, but Jon, son of Ice and Fire, seems more and more to be the Lord's chosen. Anyways, upon finding out about Jon's true parentage in season 7, which basically confirms that he is a son of Ice and Fire, and upon finding out about Jon's death and resurrection in the final season, it's quite possible that Sam will proclaim Jon Azor Ahai, a hero that was reborn amid smoke and salt, a hero that will wield the flaming sword to stand against the others, and if he falls, the world falls with him. I also believe that a book about the Long Night that Gilly was reading in season 7 premiere will resurface in the final season, which would likely lead Sam to once again ask Bran if he's able to look back in time, but this time even further into the past to see what exactly happened the last time the White Walkers came for the living. This is how Sam and Bran will play a huge role in the final season, as they will help Jon and Daenerys strategize for their fight against the Night King and his army of the dead. This will most probably involve quite a few flashbacks where we would learn a bit more about the White Walkers and their motivations. If Jon Snow truly is the prince that was promised, it means that Daenerys is probably going to die, and there comes another prediction, which is the death of the Dragon Queen. Both Jon and Dany are tied to the Azor Ahai prophecy, which includes a historic legend of a hero sacrificing his love in order to save the world from the Long Night. Melisandre told Daenerys that she has a role to play in the prophecy, as does Jon Snow. Daenerys' role in the Long Night is most likely her eventual sacrifice and death. It seems that just like Azor Ahai, who had to draw his sword into his life's living heart in order to create Lightbringer, Jon will have to do the same. This means that Jon Snow as the prince that was promised will defeat the Night King and save Westeros, but it would also mean that Jon as the last Targaryen will become the new ruler of Westeros, even though he never wanted to rule. Let me also say that this theory most certainly matches with George R. R. Martin's announced bittersweet ending. Anyways, back to the reunions. Beside with his sisters and best friend, Jon will obviously reunite with Bran as well. It's been a long time since Jon saw Bran, but Bran did see Jon in season 4 when he was traveling north of the Wall. He saw Jon from afar, fighting the mutineers to avenge Lord Commander's death. Bran is beside Howland Reed, the only living man that witnessed Jon's birth, and even though he has been waiting the whole season to reveal the truth to Jon, I don't think he will be the one to lead Jon to believe he's a Targaryen. Whether it will be Bran or Sam that will reveal to Jon his true lineage, in my opinion it will be Howland Reed who will confirm these statements with some hard proof that would lead Jon to believe that he is in effect a true heir to the Iron Throne. The Night King has brought down the wall and is marching towards the Winterfell. Almost all of Westeros, on the other hand, is also marching towards Winterfell to defend it against the army of the dead. All in all, I don't think House Reed will be the only house beside House Lannister not to join the Great War. Even though it's possible that instead of Howland Reed, his daughter Mira might lead small forces of her house north, I think it's time for Howland Reed to finally appear and play his role. Anyways, let's take a little break from reunions with a prediction that the Night King will hit the last hearth and Carhold first. This is what Jon said when he was addressing the Northern Lords in the Season 7 premiere, which will on the other hand likely come true in the Season 8 premiere. Those castles of House Umbra and House Karstark will probably follow along with their rulers, Ned Umbra and Ellis Karstark. Another prediction that is highly possible to come true is Jon Snow riding Rhaegal in the final season, the dragon named after his father. After the heartbreaking battle beyond the wall, Daenerys only has 2 dragons left, and since she rides Drogon, it would fit for Jon, the other last living Targaryen, to ride Rhaegal into battle at some point, probably after he learns of his true parentage. A few months ago I made a video regarding the 3-headed dragon theory that already proved to be quite accurate. So basically in that theory, Rhaegar Targaryen's statement in Daenerys' vision, the dragon has 3 heads, means that each of Daenerys' 3 dragons will have their own riders. For all of you that are not caught up with the books and are probably wondering when did Rhaegar say this, let me explain it to you in a few sentences. Daenerys saw visions in the House of the Undying in both in the books and on the show, but her visions are quite different. In the books, Daenerys saw no vision of Drogo and their son, but she did see many other visions, of which one was a vision of her brother Rhaegar saying the dragon has 3 heads. In that video I also explained how that theory has been foreshadowed, as well as which characters might make up the 3-headed dragon prophecy, long story short, who those 3 dragon riders might be. I said that Daenerys obviously has an unbreakable bond with Drogon, and Jon Snow being the last Targaryen beside Dany would ride the dragon named after his father, but not before the last season. Regarding the 3rd dragon rider that is required to fulfill the 3-headed dragon theory, I stated that it would be nice to see Daenerys, Jon and Tyrion riding the dragons into the battle against the Night King, but I also said it was kind of too obvious and simple to be true, at least too obvious for Game of Thrones. Instead of Tyrion, who seemed to have developed connections with Danish Dragon, I stated that the Night King will be the 3rd dragon rider, and therefore we would have Daenerys Fire, the Night King Ice, and Jon Snow Ice and Fire riding 3 dragons. Whether it's Jon or someone else like Bran or even Tyrion, I do think that Rhaegal will have his rider in the last episodes of Game of Thrones. The last prediction that will surely come true is arguably the most interesting reunion of the final season, or even of the entire series so far. It's a reunion between Bran Stark and Jaime Lannister. As we all know, back in the first season, Jaime was caught having an intimate relationship by Bran. To keep Bran from reporting what he just saw, which would have resulted with Jaime, Cersei and all their children being executed, Jaime pushed Bran out of the tower window, costing Bran the ability to walk and rendering him a cripple. Anyways, Jaime's heading north to support the living side, and he will eventually reunite with Bran at Winterfell. The only question regarding this reunion is how will Bran react? At first glance we would assume that Bran will react angrily, since that's the man who almost killed him the last time they saw each other, but that most likely will not be the case. In the 4th episode of the 7th season, Bran Stark stated that he's not Bran Stark anymore, but rather the 3-eyed Raven, meaning that Bran will not sentence Jaime to death, nor will he allow Jon or Daenerys to do the same. Bran will likely be the one to reveal the whole truth behind Jaime's so-called betrayal over Daenerys' father, the Mad King. Jaime was one of the established members of the Kingsguard under the Mad King, and his duty was to protect the king from harm at all times. But even if Jaime decided not to kill the Mad King, but rather to let him kill hundreds of thousands of innocent people, he would have still broken another oath. The Kingsguard is an elite group of 7 knights who are religiously influenced by a code of chivalry and honor. This code states that the knights must defend the weak and the innocent, so even if Jaime did let the Mad King to burn the capital to the ground along with all innocent people with it, Jaime would have still broken an oath. In my opinion, rather than sentencing Jaime to death, Bran will reveal to everyone the real truth behind Jaime's so-called betrayal, resulting with Jaime becoming a hero that he actually has been his whole life. There are so many predictions and theories that I have in my mind for the final season, so make sure to stay tuned for the upcoming videos.